Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, people. Good evening to the world. To all of you naysayers out there who thought that you were not going to get a chance to hear me today. To all of you half-baked listeners who expected somebody else. To all of my enemies who thought that you have defeated me, Sir Darryl, I'm here to claim and proclaim that you have not. You are tuned in, people. You're listening right now. I want you to know what you are dealing with today. I want you to get a real good idea of what's taking place. I want you to get to know this phenomenon that is me. I want you to get to know this phenomenon that is Darryl. I want you to know that at this very moment you are tuned into what the future will call the most influential radio show in the history of the world. Sir Darryl Radio Experience. And we are here live, broadcasting live from an undisclosed bunker in the Indiana area. Can't give you anything more specific than that. And let me tell you why. Many of you think that I am fearful of your finding the location of the bunker and doing me harm. Well, nothing could be any further from the truth. I dislike the inconvenience that I will have to suffer if you attempt me harm. Because it will be an inconvenience. I will kill you. And I will have decisions to make. Either I'm going to destroy your body, utilizing some method that could theoretically leave behind evidence, and I could be criminally charged, and I will have to fight that off like one of my spiritual guides, Rod Blagojevich, had to deal with, which we'll get to later. That could happen to me. And even if the police never find your dead body, your decaying corpse, or your mutilated ashes, can you say mutilated ashes? Those two words probably shouldn't go together, because theoretically, if it has been reduced to ash, it's not mutilated, it's just made into a completely different substance. I think that in order to be mutilated, something would need to be still intact. So I don't know whether or not that is considered mutilation if it's an ash. I think it's not. So going back to what I'm saying, if they find your ashes scattered about, I wonder whether or not DNA testing can be done from ashes. If I kill you and you're just ashes, I think I'm done at that point. I think if I can get it reduced to ashes. But we'll find out. We'll get to the bottom of this.
We're calling Metaphase Genetics, a world leader in DNA testing. For sales, press 1. If you are an existing client, press 2. If you have been contacted...
Now press 1 for sales.
1 moment, please.
If you're just tuning in, we're just trying to find out whether or not remains can be identified from ashes.
Customer service, how may I help you?
Hi, ma'am. I wanted to get some theoretical information on DNA testing.
Okay, do you want to use the test for legal purpose or just for your own knowledge?
Do you guys do both, or do I have to answer one or the other?
Well, the cost is different.
Okay. Well, I guess technically, I'm not trying to figure out if a child is mine. I'm trying to figure out the identity, theoretically, of a person. And I guess it would be personal. Maybe if I ask the question, it might help you to guide me in the direction that I want to go.
Okay, what do you mean identity?
Well, if you know how, like, when people are trying to figure out who a person is, if for some reason a person has been burned to the point where they've been reduced to ashes, is there any way to DNA test that?
There may not be enough DNA on it, no.
Okay, but is there, you say there may not be, like if you have a whole jar of the ashes, do you think that there would be?
We can try, but it's not likely that there's enough DNA on it.
Okay, to be able to figure out who a person is. So theoretically,
Correct.
if we were to like, I mean, that if a person were to, I don't know, for whatever reason, just be burned up, basically to a crisp, and they were completely burned down to that point, we couldn't figure out who it was, and there would probably be no way for us to even determine who that person is, right?
Well, we don't know until we tested it, but not likely that there is any DNA left.
Okay, great. So that would probably be the best way to go if you wanted to make sure that there was no DNA. The burning.
But yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're
I don't
welcome.
actually
No
need
problem.
I don't need the testing or anything like that. I was more or less asking for reasons so that
Okay.
I'll know what to do.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yep. You're
Bye-bye.
welcome. Yep.
I bet you she's freaking out like, holy crap, I just literally helped somebody figure out the best way to murder somebody else. So people, if you're just tuning into the Sir Darryl radio experience, we've just learned something very valuable in just the first few minutes. If you're going to murder somebody and you can figure out a way to burn them down to the ashes, once you get them to the ashes, most likely there's no DNA that's going to be left that the police will be able to pin you on that crime. We just heard it directly from the DNA Center. So here we go. We're calling a cremation service company that sells cremation equipment.
Matthew's Cremation, who made your call?
Hi, I was calling because someone had given me your number about purchasing cremation equipment.
Okay, for the cremation unit itself, sir?
Yes,
Okay, is it going to be for pets or humans?
humans.
One moment.
Thank you so much.
Marble, keepsakes, and more.
If you're just tuning in, people, we're trying to figure out, we've already found out that cremation is the way to go legally, but we don't know how to cremate a person. Now, I'm sure that this is actually illegal to do, but apparently once this is done, you will not necessarily be able to be criminally prosecuted because they won't be able to identify anybody. Now, I want you to answer me this. What other radio show gives you this in-depth of information? You're not going to find this on the Radio Dan show. You won't find this on... Steve Harvey's not talking about this. Al Sharpton is not discussing this. Dr. Laura doesn't give you this. You're only going to find this on the Sir Darryl radio experience. And you need to be aware of that.
Can I help you?
Hey, Steve, I was calling to find out how much your cremation machines are.
Okay, and what's your name, sir?
My name's Darryl.
Darryl? Darryl, you have a last name?
Yeah, my last name's Johnson.
Okay. Well, a complete package, meaning you would need some ancillary items for inside the crematory,
Okay.
like a pulverizer, a cremation
A
processor,
pulverizer, holy crap. If you're just tuning in, people, we're getting information on cremating people so that we can not go to jail.
Into an urn or temporary container,
All right.
so they need at least that.
Okay.
And then I would recommend perhaps a ventless processing station for the processor,
Okay.
which is a self-contained filtration system that increases level of operator safety and
You know what's so funny?
keeps
Like,
the
this
work
is what
environment
they
around
do
the packaging
every
area
day,
much cleaner.
and this is what they do all day long. I cannot imagine that
And
this
they
being
would
my
need
job
refrigeration,
to concentrate on that.
You know, a minimum 3-body cooler, let's say. As
Okay.
A minimum.
All right.
A complete package like that. Would it be delivered to around that area?
Yeah, I would say around that area. Yeah.
Around Chicago, greater Chicago area?
Yes, sir.
Just outside the city limits, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They'd be looking just a little less than $100,000 for a fully equipped setup.
Okay, got it.
So if I can be of any help, don't hesitate to call me. I sure would appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Steve. That's Steve, everybody. If you're just tuning in or if you tuned in late, I pondered, as it were, at the beginning of this show, if a person has been burnt to a crisp, could DNA test be done in order to identify the body? It was concluded that it could not.